Hi, Surya.
Hi Divesh, how are you doing?
I don't. I'm doing good, but I don't think a lot of people from US time zone would join. I think it's a holiday today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Martin Luther
That's
King's.
oh, okay.
Okay, enough people are joining.
Yeah, hello everyone to whoever joined. But I think Divesh was just mentioning that since it's Martin Luther King Day today and it's a public holiday in the US, the participation might be thin than usual.
Yeah,
But
I thought
while
Girish was probably planning to join in though. I think one of the questions he had was about the no overlay, plans to get the no overlay thing into the source. I think he wanted to know a little bit about that. So at least he said he might join.
oh, okay. Yeah, but that's good. Let's see if he joins. But while people are waiting, I was saying if you have any topics, please add them to the agenda so we can plan the meeting accordingly. And if there are any new people on the call joining for the very first time, feel free to introduce yourself.
Oh, so hello everyone. Yeah, it's the first time for me to join this meeting. So I'm from the NVIDIA's team. And I joined NVIDIA server just 2 months ago. And now I participate in the development of ON Kubernetes.
Welcome, Shafan, and thanks for introducing yourself. What part of OVN Kubernetes do you plan to work on? Do you know that?
Uh, yeah, currently I still do not have some major tasks. I'm just trying to synchronize some downstream features of NVIDIA's fork to the upstream. So there are several small issues. Yeah, like currently I have two small PRs in the GitHub, and maybe later I will submit some more, like some small updates.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks for the introduction. Okay, we have quorum. We can get started. If others need to join, they can join in the middle of the meeting. But welcome everyone to the OVN Kubernetes community meeting. Today is the 19th of Jan 2026. Let's follow the CNCF code of conduct and be kind to each other. We have Xiaofeng who's joined us for the first time in the meeting and he's introduced himself. So going through the rest of the agenda, Nadia will not be able to join us today, but she has added a few items here. I think the first item is on the issue triage, which I agree with her that this BR int flow test seems to fail a lot. And I think we're hitting it on a few different PRs. But my understanding is Pang is already fixing it and there's a PR linked here. So hopefully that does the trick, but I've asked Pang to confirm he's on PTO today. The second one is of CI Flake. That was also pretty annoying, but thanks to Patrick, he fixed it. So great job. I think that's all for issue triage on the CI. Moving on to the next topic, which is there was a follow-up for layer 2 router topology. I think Nadia is looking for volunteers to pick up this issue, but I don't know what it exactly means.
Yeah, I'm a
Patrick,
bit
you have a comment?
confused about that one myself. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about that one myself. I think with the move to the transit router, we shouldn't see the issue and we should get it fixed by default since we've moved to following what we're doing for layer 3 networks. So that requirement of having a single gateway, it shouldn't be an issue. And I'm not sure if this one got created before we've decided to address it as part of the enhancement, but I'm pretty sure it's done. But I can sync up with Nadia on it.
Cool, sounds good. Thanks, Patrick. That also aligns with what I thought about it. So AI will
I
sync
can go.
with Nadia and close this. Did someone say anything? Sorry, I didn't hear.
No, sorry to go. You can go ahead. Go ahead. You called AI, so I was thinking it was my turn. Sorry.
No, it was action item.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, the next thing is the milestone thing, which I was talking about in the previous meeting. I didn't introduce it. It's been around for a really long time. The way we track releases is using milestones, and we are tracking our 1.3 release, which is going to happen on the last week of April, using that milestone. I think I've told it repeatedly on Slack channels and also in the meetings that if you have a PR, you want to target for 1.3 release. It doesn't matter if it's a no-cap or an implementation PR. It must be showing up in this list. Otherwise, it's very hard for a release liaison to track what's going to happen as part of release notes. And it also avoids last-minute confusion on what should be part of release. Can I insert this new feature also? So no overlay is doing a great job. Connecting audience is doing a great job. EVPN needs to do a better job. I forget what other things we need to track. But if you are part of any of the features we're tracking for 1.3 release, this is a request to please go and add milestone. Okay, off to you, Divish. You have the MCPI update.
So I'm the one who's mostly working on this from NVIDIA side. So thanks for that amazing MCP upstream. So I was using it and kind of creating the issues and trying asking LLM to kind of solving using this MCP. So one strange behavior like I observed is if I use the same issue, right? Say a network policy is not, I created a wrong network policy and make two pods not talk to each other, and I'm asking LLM to kind of figure out why it's not able to talk. Ping, trace route, these are all fine. But if you see, right, in OVS there is one. You can go and check the DB, OVN to be an OVS rules, same thing, right? So what LLM is kind of choosing is it's choosing a different tool for different time. The issue here, it's not an issue actually, but just that consistency won't be there. I feel if the same tool is achieving in a different stack, you getting my point, right? So yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish. I think consistency has always been a problem with AI. It's not guaranteed that it's going to execute the same order of operations. The reason we added tools in different layers is to give AI the capability to debug each of those layers. But if it's not doing it in a layered fashion, or if it's using a ping or something and then going haphazard around, like the next step would be like one of the main very trivial steps is to check the ACLs. If it's not jumping into straight doing that, I don't, see it's a problem. But then I think I get your point, right? Like if you give the same bug or same issue, it might be choosing different tools, but the point is it fixing it? Is it understanding what the root cause is? Because I would be more worried about if it's not able to troubleshoot it.
It is able to do it, but one time it's saying OVN logical things are not missing, and some other time it was showing OVS rule was kind of locking. Both points to the same thing for someone from our team, but I don't know how to kind of. I think whoever is writing the agent, right, should at least define the order and which stack layer it should take a look at, at least in the prompt, I guess.
How do you do that though? For each feature, it should actually do. So in my humble opinion, I think it should be giving us both. It should say that the ACLs are missing and there are open flow rules missing on the OVS layer. So in each layer, it's showing what's missing. If it's picking and choosing one thing at each time, that maybe something we can fix with prompt. So we should actually tell it to inspect it layer by layer and then point out what's wrong in each layer. Oh, someone has their hand raised, Patrick.
Yeah, I wonder if we could leverage something like tool description or whatever the model is going to consume before calling the MCP queries, right? So if you get like a summary per for our MCP or just for any of the sections we provide, maybe it would be somewhere there we could provide something like oven configures OVS, etc. So just to enforce the layering.
Yeah, I thought we had plans to hard code a overall context prompt. You're the expert in OVN Kubernetes troubleshooting. OVN Kubernetes uses OVN, which uses OVS. Did we do that? I don't know. I would have to check with
I
Oracle.
don't
That
remember,
would
yeah.
be in the agent, right? That would be in the agent itself, not in the MCP. I mean, that
Right.
would be given to, yeah.
Yeah, I agree here. That's why I was thinking whether we could inject it somewhere around tools descriptions, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good stuff.
Or
I think we should talk to our
oh,
customers
go
here.
ahead. No. Or we let the agent fix it. I think you're adding an agent, right, Devesh? We could
Yes,
see if
I'll be adding an agent. I think I'll have an internal presentation too in a couple of days. Once that is done, I'll probably get more feedback from my team, and I'm working on it. It's in progress. I'll soon push the OCAP and even the agent too. But by the way, the agent would be lot generic. It can't be just directly downloadable and directly you can put it in your stack. It's kind of it's a very vague topic, right? I mean, so you take the agent, you have to somehow figure out where it fits in your stack because in my perspective the agent that I am doing it will have a lot of triggers like the issue might come from Slack or PagerDuty, right? We don't even know what's the other client who is consuming our Kubernetes MCP or AI agent, right? It's mostly like a guidelines of how to use this MCP server in AI agent. Should that be good enough or
I think maybe as next step, capture this nice feedback on an issue and then outline different options. Then I'll ask Oracle to also weigh in from our side, and maybe we can have some concrete path forward.
Sure. This AI agent, right? What I was thinking is, I mean, we have two modes, if you know, live and offline, right? So most likely, this is something only with devs can use. What I am building is kind of automatically it can triage whenever the issue comes, or completely automated process, right? And I don't see it any Docker image of the MCP server. I wrote one myself, but how are how are you guys planning to deploy it?
We are not trying to prioritize it. This is a very alpha version of the MCP server that we're only using within engineering for troubleshooting.
I see. I see.
So we haven't planned the deployment yet, but I'm also hoping we don't need to worry about it too much because there is a centralized team within Red Hat also like every team is coming up with an MCP server. We're not unique in that. So hopefully we already have some best practice. Actually, we already have it. There's some best practice guide on how to deploy and how to productize MCP servers and all of this. But we're just waiting for things to, let's say, settle down and the wave to ride so that we have a very stable path forward and for us to get that part prioritized because this was only a very initial stab at it. It's not exactly prioritized from a product standpoint yet. And when that happens, we will probably think deeply about it. But we did have a couple of ideas, but maybe that's another good thing to have an issue for or small OCAP for rehash how we want to deploy the server plus agent.
I can cover it in the AI agent part. But I think MCP in itself, the code, I can just add a simple Docker build for that if someone wants to deploy it as a Docker image.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. That was already part of the plan. And I thought we were also supposed to cut a patch release for people to consume it in different ways. But
Oh, I
I
see.
think the code is still merging. So maybe we wait for it to stabilize.
I don't think anyone has Docker or something like planned for that. Is- I didn't see any issue for that at least.
I would check with Orco or Maina on this one.
Okay, cool.
I think one of the goals was that, but I don't know if it's translated into an issue upstream. So definitely check with the two of them.
Sure, sure. Sorry, I'll also share whatever findings I have done by testing all these MCP servers and what can we improve in Slack thread. I'll in few days maybe.
Yeah, that would also be really nice to capture on Slack thread or GitHub. And thanks, Divish, for bringing the feedback and also trying out the server.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very initial stab at it. Like I think there's a lot to do there, but yeah, we can slowly iterate on it and yeah, let us know when you have the issues or need a review with anything or anything like that. But yeah,
Cool. Thanks. That's all I have, folks.
thank you, Joe. How come you're not on PTO? Isn't it Martin Luther King Day today?
Red Hat does not recognize that as a holiday.
That explains why everybody in the US is working today. And I didn't know about the holiday till Divesh mentioned it. So, okay, over to you for performance results.
It is a federal holiday in the United States, but it's not one that Red Hat recognizes for some reason. Yeah, so shortly after last week's meeting, I worked with Tim and others to get this PR merged in to start having performance results be captured. So we have two different workflows. We have one that runs against master every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that data gets stored into Elasticsearch. I posted a link to an example output, and I have some definitions of the different metrics we captured during the workload. We capture pod ready latency, which is that takes the time for the pod from scheduling to building to running. How long does that take? OVNK CPU overall is looking at all of the resources in that namespace, and then OVNK controller is the container level. So we have different ways to partition the data and look at things. We collect a lot more metrics than what I'm demonstrating here. We also collect pprofs. So I get a CPU profile and a heap with each of these runs. Those are actually just stored as artifacts in the actual performance job. So if you go to the OVN-Kubernetes GitHub and then go to actions and go to the perf test, you can kind of get a sense of those things. One of the questions that I have is with this new workload that I'm looking to add, we have a CUDN, a UDN for L2, and a UDN for L3 that's in the works. But one question I have for the community is around the different configurations. So I'm only running a single OVN configuration test where we have 3 control plane, 3 workers, and just I would say a pretty basic OVN setup. I'm curious if there's other OVN Kubernetes configurations that I should try with the performance workloads. So on that line 60, it just shows the configuration that I'm testing today.
I think anything with that's realistically what we are going with downstream is great for us. But the only suggestion I would have is let's make it complex enough. So I see you have IPv4. Maybe it would be interesting to see it for dual stack instead. I guess we're limited in how many of those can we test, but having a base with a complex setup seems reasonable to me. Like interconnect, dual stack, local gateway is fine, I think. And I think most of the performance issues will come from workloads anyway. So things like UDNs, network policies with ACLs, and pods in general. So yeah, but that's great stuff.
Yeah, my concern was blind spots, right? So yeah, if you want to throw an issue out there to say, hey, maybe we add coverage for dual stack, we could probably run multiple jobs in parallel where I have an IPv4 only, a dual stack, and if there's other configurations that we should consider, we should just at least track those somewhere.
Yeah, I get the concern about blind spots, but I think we have so many options that we just have to focus on the most common ones and I guess increase the scope of a single run as we reasonably can, like doing dual stack instead of single stack for either of the families. But yeah, I think we can bring this up when we have more people, or do a Slack thread to figure out whether there are different combinations we want to take a look at. One thing I want to ask you is, have we figured out how are we going to address any potential issues that the automation finds? Like, I think you've proposed a Slack bot, is it? Or Slack messages?
Yeah. And yeah, my thought initially is to just have Slack messages of the nightly performance runs be kind of just spit out on the Slack channel. We can open up issues. The concern that I have right now is if you look at the data, we do see some jumps in the utilization and for the pod ready latency. So it's hard to kind of, it's not like massive deltas, but are we going to have to allow for a threshold of 25% regression before we get a notification, just due to the way that we're testing, right? We're testing pods in a single VM, which is not totally representative, but the hope is we can get some useful data out of this. But if you look at the latest results that I posted there, like if you go to January 16th, that would have probably potentially been a regression that got messaged out, right? Same thing. And it seems like if you look at January 18th, the CPU utilization continued to stay the same, but then we saw it drop on the 18th. So it's just a bit of variability that we would have to take into account. So anyway, I just don't want to be like a lot of noise. So I'm trying to get more data before I start having notifications be like blasted out.
Yeah. I think this is really important to get right, because if we're going to spend time on it, we need to have some confidence. So that's really good that you already saw it. And I guess this argument goes both ways. If we have an issue with performance, we should see a higher regression that we would normally see with multiple VMs, is it? At least that's my hope.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so like each of these workloads, I'm hoping to get, like when I introduced the UDN, CUDN workload, before we enable messages or anything of that sort, we get at least 7 days of data, which would be 7 data points, and kind of measure the deltas between those and say, okay, with some confidence, we're below, let's just say, a 15% regression window. Then we just set the tolerances to 15% and then, test and see how that goes and iterate over time.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay. Thank you, Joe, for all the amazing work that you're doing with this regard. So if you need any more discussion from anybody from NVIDIA side, do a Slack thread, definitely. But if not, I agree with what Patrick said. And I think we are at the end of the agenda for today. I don't know if folks have any questions on anything we discussed or anything else that they want to bring up. Going once, twice, and sold. Thank you, everybody. Get your 30 minutes back, actually 35 minutes back. See you again in 2 weeks. Peace out. Bye, everyone.